Hello and welcome to The Worst Movie Ever Made, an experimental movie podcast designed with one thing in mind, to find the worst movie ever made. I'm your host, Chris Ackman, joined by my co-host and fellow mad scientist, Rob Scucci. Hey, Rob, how are you, and why are we doing this?
I've had a migraine for like 2 days, and I've been really trying to watch Roadhouse. So I was going to watch it last night. I fell asleep at I got in bed at 8 o'clock. And then I woke up, it was 7 a.m. and then I had shit to do. So I was just sitting down at noon watching this shit. And I think we should just get into it because it's not good. And I think we have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So bad reviews then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Jay Carr of the Boston Globe says, Roadhouse is the kind of action movie whose rigging is so blatant that there can be no air of heroism about it.
Okay.
Mike Clark of USA Today says, ultimately, it's just too long and redundant, too violent and unpleasant, too stupid and full of itself.
Yeah.
That one's dead on.
Yeah, no, that's entirely accurate.
You got YouTube comments?
Yeah, so here's the first one. The greatest movie ever made.
We beg to differ. Look what podcast it's on.
Yeah. Moving on to the second comment, which I agree with wholeheartedly. So the local police, county sheriff, the mayor, city and city councils, state ABC regulators, state attorney general, and jurisdictional courts don't exist in this movie's universe?
Oh, man. That's definitely stealing my thunder.
And that's all I've got right now.
All right, test number 1, the worst of its kind. So what we do here is we get the critic scores for 5 different movies on Rotten Tomatoes. We compare the average of those 5 movies to the Rotten Tomatoes critic score for the movie in question, in this case, Roadhouse.
Okay.
The difference is our score. So let's get into test number 1, the worst of its kind.
Is this film the best of the worst or the worst of its kind? Yeah.
All right, so the first one I have written here is Demolition Man. You know anything about that one?
Yeah, fucking ruled. I think we gave it high praise despite its score.
We did. I mean, it sucked, but it was awesome. Obviously that's Stallone and Snipes. For those of you who don't know, go back a couple of episodes and listen because it's fucking awesome and we're great and it's funny and precise.
Yeah.
60%. The Fugitive with Harrison Ford.
That was a great movie.
It was amazing. Did you know it got a 96?
I assume 90s, but I assume 91, 92, but they tipped into the A+ territory. So I'll give them that.
They did. Tombstone with Kurt Russell and Sam Elliott. I say Sam Elliott, not Bill Paxton or anyone else, because he is in this movie. So a 74% there.
Okay.
Tango and Cash, Stallone again and Kurt Russell again, a 30%. I've never seen it, but I'm thinking maybe we should watch it now.
Remember that I sang in the Gene Shalit clip a couple days ago when he's like, "Don't panic, room. I just want your Tango and Cash."
Yes, I do remember that. Con Air with Cage.
Okay.
And then a whole bunch of other people. 56.
Okay.
So the average is 63.2%. You want to guess what Roadhouse got?
12?
A 39.
No.
Yeah, 39. For a negative 24.2, but it is not the worst of its kind. Tango and Cash was.
We'll talk about it later, but I think there's a very specific demographic that kept that number higher than it should have been.
I completely agree. I mean, there's probably even some critics. So. Okay, let's see. Let's move it on. I said already, but it's not the worst of its kind, so I wrote that in as well. Test number 2, the plot pitch.
Okay.
So Rob takes on the part of a major movie producer, and I act like a guy in the elevator pitching it to him. If he will make it, we will record that, and then he's going to give me a star grade as well.
Yes.
Let's do test number 2, the plot pitch.
Hey, God, no, man. Hey, what? You want to hear my movie idea? No!
You have a dive bar you need whipped into shape? Patrick Swayze is your man. He plays Dalton, the bouncer everyone knows, and the right guy to call when you have this issue. Sure, maybe Dalton is artfully dodging his rap sheet with that whole throat murder thing he allegedly did, or whatever, but in this universe, no one is ever held accountable by law enforcement for anything. Take Brad Wesley, for example. Wesley runs the new Dalton destination with an iron fist, paying off the cops, charging stores mafia-style protection fees, and murdering at will. In this sleepy town that hosts the Double Deuce, all bend the knee to Brad. Will Dalton fix up the deuce? Will he stick his pretty little fingers where they don't belong? Will he get all high and mighty and decide to murder an entire crime outfit, raw deal style? If this doesn't all connect, who cares? Tits.
I mean, how many tits?
Give me a lousy 17 million tits to make this movie.
I'll make it. And that sounds pretty good.
Yeah? You're going to make it?
Yeah. Am I getting the tits up front?
Up front.
Okay, cool.
Right in the beginning.
Nice. And then no more for the rest of the movie. I'll give that a 3-star.
Wow. Okay. Let me jot that down, and then we'll hop into test number 3, one of my personal favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. What I also need to do is, funny enough, find. Well, let's just discuss what test number 3 is. It's called a worst dialogue. All so right. If that doesn't explain it, then I don't know what's wrong with you. We're just going to talk about the dialogue and how bad it is. We're going to go in reverse order, though, 10 to 1, the top 10 worst lines of dialogue in the movie. Let's do test number 3, the worst dialogue.
The worst movie ever made presents the worst dialogue ever made. Hooray.
Okay, so number 10, and this is like maybe the least egregious. You remember the... so I've got 2 things that I just wanted to couple up here.
Okay.
Do you remember the I thought you'd be bigger like tagline that runs through the whole movie?
Yeah.
That's cliche, so we'll talk about it again, but I also don't really understand what they were really trying to do, because it's not... they were saying like, bouncers are usually bigger than that, but like a lot of the guys that are bouncing aren't any bigger than him,
Yeah, he's probably like 5'8", 5'10", right? He's like average height, maybe.
He's in crazy shape.
Yeah.
He knows martial arts. Coupled with that, he's also called Miho by Sam Elliott's character 12 times, and I felt like it was really forced.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to number 9 then. So one of the cronies sent over by Brad Wesley,
mm-hmm.
In a group of 4, you remember the scene where they had like one of them had a blade in his boot, and Dalton says to the big guy like, "Hey, look at his boot."
Yeah,
Dalton and the big guy go over to confront them, and they're like, "Sorry, we don't have any vacancy or whatever." And then the guy's like, "Oh yeah, then what are all these people here doing?" And Dalton says back, "Drinking and having a good time." And then the bad guy says, "Well, that's why we're here." And then he throws a kick, and Dalton catches the kick, right?
Yeah.
And Dalton goes, "You're too stupid to have a good time." And then breaks his leg.
Yeah. And then they take the knife boot off, and he throws it on the roof.
Number 8, Emmett. That's the guy with the big beard that lets him rent a room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Calling me sir is like putting an elevator in an outhouse. Don't belong."
Mm-hmm.
No, I guess he's right.
What a weird analogy, though.
I feel like if you... It felt like mathematically incomprehensible and just bothered my brain, because I was like thinking an elevator is probably bigger than most outhouses. So I guess he's right.
You could fit an outhouse in an elevator.
Yes, you could. It just felt like putting a moose in a marble sack or something. Like you could have said anything,
Yeah.
Number 7, bodyguard. That I think his name is Jimmy.
Okay.
He's the big showdown guy.
Yeah.
He goes, "Prepare to die," and Dalton goes, "You're such an asshole." All right, number 6, Jimmy the bodyguard follow-ups. He goes, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison."
That was my favorite line in the movie. I paused it and told Stacy about it.
And made me feel rather conflicted.
Yeah.
In all sorts of ways, if I'm going to be honest.
Mhm.
Clip number 1. This is number 5 in our reverse order, so it's getting there. This one's called "That's What They Say."
Little Rock.
You're gonna have a lot of pain when you get older, Dalton. You could be crippled if you don't slow down.
Yeah, that's what they say.
You already know that?
No, I just said that's what they say.
That was almost like a oh, I got you, like, right? Wasn't that supposed to be super clever? But it really didn't. It just didn't deliver.
Yeah, and it's really stupid. I haven't skateboarded since I was 13, and I still have problem like bending my knee sometimes. So,
Right?
he's not
That's
gonna be
not
able to
just what
walk
they
by the time
say.
he's 40. Yeah, it's what's
Right.
gonna happen.
It's a promise.
Yeah.
Number 4. This is Brad Wesley, the big baddie.
Yeah.
I'll explain why this is such a dumb line when I'm done reading it.
Okay.
I thought it'd be fun to fight you, Dalton. I really did. But I just don't have the time. Then he pulls out a gun.
Mm-hmm.
This is after he fought Dalton.
Yeah. Like he already did it. It didn't work, and then he's still spending time on it.
Number 3 is Brad again.
Okay.
This is just before they tussle. Dalton is hiding behind like a bear, a stuffed moose or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Brad's like, I see you found my trophy room. The only thing that's missing is your ass. So I pictured like if he won the fight, he's got Dalton's ass just like mounted next to the buck head.
Just a butt on the wall, yeah.
Come into my buck and butts room. Number 2,
Can I say, and like it'd be like a bottle opener. So you think, all right, go on.
Oh man, that's awesome. Number 2, just some guy. This is in the beginning. You might remember when the like the hot blonde that's not the doc that keeps trying to bang Dalton. She comes up to him and she's like, you know, hitting on him or whatever. It's not. Well, there's another worst acting line that she delivers. It's not that one, but irrelevant. Some guy next to her goes, "Hey, vodka rocks. What do you say? Me and you get nipple to nipple." And then she says back, "I can do that without you."
I feel like when next time I'm visiting Connecticut, we got to get together and go to like a biker bar and just use these pickup lines from like all these movies. Just walk up to a chick, completely straight face. Hey, you want to go nipple to nipple, baby? And just see how that goes.
See what happens. Yeah. Just record the punch as it happens and so
wear like one of those GoPro helmets and just see what happens.
All right, our number 1 worst segment of bad dialogue, it usually works out this way, is our second clip, and this one is titled "Dump Truck."
Here we go. That was our drum roll, and here's the dump truck.
How'd you like to tell us what the fuck's going on? You gonna help us out or not?
I'll let you know.
You know, I heard you had balls big enough to come in a dump truck, but you don't look like much to me.
I'm confused because balls that are big enough to come in a dump truck, that means 2 different things. His balls are physically so big they need to be delivered on the back of a dump truck, or balls so big that he could shoot a load that will fill a dump truck.
I think it's more of the capacity to fill, rather than the sheer volume in weight.
These are the hard questions we ask on the Worst Movie Ever Made podcast.
This is why we wanted to go with number 1, because you know this is the kind of lively debate that people come to us for. Yes. You know, for sure. Other than the hard hitting science.
Yeah.
So why don't you guys let us know what you think? Is it to fill the dump truck, or is it to I guess fill the dump truck either way, with balls or with semen? You tell us.
With flesh or with
All right. Anyway, hey guys, you picked Roadhouse, okay?
Yeah.
No, this is getting hard to listen to. I'm sorry, it's a little grotesque, but we're moving on to test number 4, the worst acting test. So it is exactly that. We're just gonna point out all the worst moments of acting in this movie, and we'll go from there. Got a couple clips we're going to mix in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Test number 4, the worst acting.
Test number 4, the worst acting. Naturally, we'd use the Catwoman theme for this one. Yeah.
The folly of man we are about to explore.
Yes, we are. Starting with, so there's this guy. I don't know why this bothered me as much as it did, but there's this guy during the like Wild West style brawl at the Double Deuce in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's 15 and 26 in, and then again at 15:56. I didn't have you clip it because it's not enough, but if people are looking, 15 minutes, 25 seconds, and 15:56. He's just this dude hanging on the bar. Everybody else is beating each other up and throwing bottles and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just got his beer bottle, and he's like,
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy?
I do remember. You can't forget that guy. It was like Roger Klotz.
Yeah, that kind of character just really got under my skin, and it was just like nobody acts like that.
Nobody.
Our third clip, of the day, is called "I Ain't Got $20."
Oh, this one's great. Here we go.
Ever seen a better pair of attitudes? Fine, ain't they? Tell you what, for $20, you can kiss them. Are you kidding? Get a kiss. Here and now. Go ahead. Do it. Go on. Oh. Get a kiss. Go ahead. Hey, buddy, what are you doing? Are you gonna kiss him or not? Okay. What do you think you can? I ain't got $20.
So he molested some woman he didn't know, and then got the shit kicked out of him.
Yes, that's the kind of movie that we were forced to watch this week for this podcast that we're doing. That's slowly rotting our brains away.
Yeah.
It's actually, I forget the line exactly, but it's like, "Are you kidding?" or something. The guy's like, $10 a kiss. What do you say? And the guy's like, "Are you kidding me?" It's like, it reminded me of that guy that was like, "I don't know what we're doing here anyhow." Yeah. All right, we got another clip coming up. A couple more for this segment. This is our 4th clip in total, number 3 on the worst acting. It's called Denise.
Oh, yeah.
Why won't you look me in the eye, Dalton?
I'm shy.
You're shocked. If I said looks good at my place, then fuck. Ain't gonna kill you. You know, you might even like it.
Say goodnight, Denise.
Yeah.
I just don't believe her at all.
No.
Moving on. Okay, this is not a clip. I'm just gonna say that Dalton and Doc physical romance, to put it lightly, because we've already been pretty gross. Terribly awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even really seem to like each other.
Can I talk about the demographic I thought I need to bring up? I don't want to shit on like a later segment, but I think I knew who this movie was made for.
Okay, go for it.
You ever read those like beach bum like Harlequin romance novels with like Fabio on the cover?
I've never read one, but I'm familiar. They have them at like a grocery store on like a rack that spins.
Yes. Yeah. Those. Yeah. I think that's the demographic that kept this over 30%.
Okay. That's totally. So they just want to see like fights and fucks.
Yeah. And it's like there's like 9 paragraphs just describing like the abs of Swayze.
Yeah.
And then there's some dialogue and some like light roughing up, and then there's like kissing.
Yeah, there's some very romantic scenes that just melt your heart here, aren't there? I think you're right, because Patrick Swayze has that like New World Fabio feel.
Yeah, He does.
Yeah, he's like Fabio 2.0. He's not as muscular, but like women do tend to like him.
You'd feel safe with him. He's got a safe smile.
Definitely. And
let's move on before I pour my water on myself.
All right, so we'll move it to another clip so that you can do that and cool off.
Okay.
This one's called the Dalton Doc combo.
Bullshit. I know exactly who Brad Wesley is. I have seen his kind many times. He keeps taking and taking until somebody takes him. It's obvious nobody in this town can stand up to him.
But you can stop him.
Brad Wesley picked me, and when he did, he fucked up. I am only good at one thing, Doc. I never lose.
What are you gonna win? Who's this for anyway? You doing it for them? I don't think so. You think you're gonna save these people from Brad Wesley? Well, who's gonna save them from you?
Totally insane. You know how like horror movies get a bad rap for like doing the lightning at the exact right moment,
Perfect
which is
timing. Yeah.
That was that.
Unbelievable.
But to dive into that a little further, Dalton to start is like, I know his kind. I've seen him many times. He's like pulling out his words
Fuck with the wrong guy.
Like the way he delivers it, I forget what else he says, but it's like he's taking the words and just rolling them over with a rolling pin, just like stretching the dough out. I don't know why though. Like I don't really understand what that is. And then Doc also reminded me of Adrian from the Rocky movies when she's like,
"Yep,
what are you even doing all this for?"
Yeah.
And that Rocky's like, "I'm a fighter. That's
I'm
what
scared."
I do."
Yeah. You want to break me? Go ahead.
You want to break me down? All right, one more that is not a clip.
Okay.
And then we're going to go into possibly the worst acting I've ever seen, bar none, period.
Okay.
Including the girl from Hunter Target.
Okay.
Dalton in the river, this is not the clip. I'm just going to do this one myself as quietly as possible. After he kills Jimmy by tearing his throat out, he screams across the river, Wesley! 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 Fuck you! I guess he just assumes Wesley can hear that, or he's so mad he doesn't care. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. We have two more clips for you. The last of the bad acting though is coming at you right now. This is. I hope this translates to audio. I never know, but we'll discuss it afterwards to really tell you what happened in this clip.
Okay.
It's called Ha Cha 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 Cha.
Yeah, this one was hard to pick up, but we'll see. Let's do this.
Okay, it doesn't do it justice. It's the guy Tinker, the like really heavy guy, right? And he's about to be hit by a falling polar bear that he could have just moved out of the way of, and instead he like looks up at it as if he's got like a specific fear of polar bears, whatever the name of that is, polar phobia, something weird. And then he's like, and then he goes.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest. It's so strange. And then he tries to shoot the stuffed animal to death.
Yeah, with like a 22.
Oh my God. You know what it reminded me of? Remember in Jaws 3 when the guy is like, Governor, down the tunnel, and he's like, go tie it up, me, Governor, or whatever. It's like so fucking over the top. Like you're like, what the fuck did they think they're going for an Oscar or something, right?
Yeah.
They really must. Anyway, you want to do your ad read so that we can transition nicely into our fifth test?
Yeah, and this ad read, I'm just going to read it, and I'm going to see if you pick up on this.
Cool.
Today's episode of The Worst Movie Ever Made is brought to you by the action-packed first-person shooter Redneck Rampage. The game's plot revolves around two brothers, Leonard and Bubba, fighting through the fictional town of Hickston, Arkansas, to rescue their prize pig Bessie and thwart an alien invasion. The brothers battle through such locales as a meatpacking plant and a trailer park, and battle evil clones of their neighbors. There are also male and female alien enemies. The bosses are the Ass Face and the leader of the alien invasion, the Queen Vixen. Power-ups consist of moon pies, pork rinds, and alcohol. A small supply of each can be carried for future use, the two exceptions being pork rinds and delicious goo-goo clusters, which are each used automatically upon being picked up. Each of these power-ups have distinct disadvantages. The more food the character eats, the more flatulent he becomes, represented by a gut meter in the user display, making it difficult to sneak up on enemies as the characters move forward and make distinct fart sounds frequently after eating. However, eating food does decrease the drunk meter slightly. Redneck Rampage. Chris, this is an actual video game that I played when I was a kid.
No way.
Yes, it was fucking awesome. I was reminded of the game from this movie, so I figured I'd just read the description from Wikipedia on the air.
Oh my god! Yeah, I definitely thought you just wrote that yourself.
No,
that sounds like something you would write.
Yeah, I wanted to just show that to you. It's they have a sequel called Redneck Rampage: Sucking Grits on Route 66.
And the colon is no coincidence, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey Rob, you know what we need to do is decide whether or not Senseless or Roadhouse had worse dialogue.
Oh God. Because see, on one hand, Senseless, like, it was pretty put together. There was some junk science, but the back and forth were good. Roadhouse had a lot of really cringy, like, wannabe tough guy stuff going on.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to say Senseless has worse dialogue, but by a very thin margin.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'm actually going to say that Senseless also had worse. All right, so I'm going to go with Roadhouse because I think Tinker tips the scales.
Yeah.
No pun intended. So I'm going to go with worst acting for Roadhouse. You agree?
Yeah, no, totally.
And I'm going to foreshadow a little bit. Next week, we will have a tiebreaker.
Okay.
For these questions. So I'll talk about that more later.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So let's go into last week. I liked the format. We did test number 5 before we went into the 5 interesting facts. I just felt like it was a little less confusing that way.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to talk about some of the most offensive moments in this movie and try to decide whether it's more offensive than our current season champion, Senseless, which is going to be maybe a hell of a debate. We'll have to get into it.
Okay.
So test number 5, the most offensive.
Damn it! I am tired of being Santa Claus! You get your together and you get your ass in the damn car. We're going. Now, damn it! Okay.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch, but I'm going to give you the highlight reel.
Yeah.
The bouncer in the beginning that says, he's talking to a woman who he's like basically groping, and he's like, I get off in a half an hour, and I'd just love to get you off a half an hour after that.
At least he's giving time to shower.
Yes, definitely. The $10 a kiss angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watching Dalton fuck across the pond in your rocking chair.
Yeah.
Trying to get with Dalton's girl, and I'm talking about you, Wade.
Yeah.
Brad calls Red a no good F word for a homosexual male, and then draft dodger.
Yeah.
What was the Denise dance scene? I just want to know, like, what that was supposed to do.
When they're like in a Waffle House, like slow dancing.
Yeah, they're in the Double Deuce after Red Webster's.
That was a double. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you wouldn't know. Well, I'll get there's something I'm going to get into the specifics about in the loopholes.
Gotcha.
In that scene. But it actually it bolsters the comment you just made about the Waffle House. And then we got 2 more unchecked abuses of power. I mentioned this in the plot pitch, but destruction, explosions, exploitation, and even murder.
Yeah.
totally unchecked.
Yeah.
And then lastly is a clip, and this will be the last clip of the episode, called Hands Full.
Hands full, pulling it up right now. Yeah.
That gal's got entirely too many brains to have an ass like that. You got your hands full, kid.
As a sapiosexual who's also a Gemini, I find that highly offensive.
Yes, same. Sapiosexual being someone who's attracted to intelligence.
Yes.
Yes. Well, then I count myself among them. I don't like the kind of person that is dull for conversation. Like,
yeah.
I would like you to be both. And I'm offended on behalf of all women because
you can have a thick brain and a thick ass. It's like not mutually exclusive.
I agree. And then saying that like that's a lot to have to handle.
Yeah.
I would argue that it might be more difficult to handle an attractive woman who doesn't have much of a brain because they tend to be a little less mature emotionally, and therefore you end up getting into heated arguments that never should have happened. Yeah. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And that's true the other way too. If you're a dumb, attractive guy, you tend to get there's just those like high school things that you never grow out of. I'm jealous for no reason, and whatever else.
Who you texting? Yeah, like all that.
All right, let's hop out of the most offensive before we end up offending. But before we do, is this more offensive than Senseless? I say no.
No, because Senseless was like blatantly trying to do the edgy, offensive comedy, but it missed the part where it was supposed to be funny. So if you're trying to be if you're trying to be edgy and you don't land the punchline, then you're just an asshole.
That's a good point. I was going to say that it is just bar none one of the most offensive movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And it's because if you pull it off like a good stand-up comedian and it's really funny, then the person who should be offended is instead laughing.
If you pull it off, you do South Park. Like
exactly.
They lambast fucking everybody, but they do it in a way that just treads the line perfectly, and they can get away with it. Whereas Senseless is just like, this is fucking garbage.
Yeah, sure. Because it was. I mean, it deserved to be like melted and then stuffed under a hill of fake grass forever.
Yeah.
This next segment was a little difficult this time. It's usually easy and kind of fun to find 5 interesting facts about Roadhouse or whatever the movie is that week, because I'm reading stuff about the movie anyway, and then when I come across stuff, I'm like, hey, why don't I just jot that down for the pod? This week, not a whole lot of interesting things. So we'll see what we take from this. It's probably going to be a little funny. So here we go. 5. Swayze dodged a bullet in this one, meaning he injured his knee, causing him to take Ghost over Predator 2 and Tango and Cash.
Mm-hmm.
So Ghost is, a fucking phenomenally successful movie, right?
Yeah.
Predator 2, not so much. He was going to be Danny Glover's character, I think. And then I think he was going to be Stallone's character in Tango and Cash.
Okay.
Could have been Kurt Russell's, I guess.
Yeah.
But both of those were flops. So because he injured his leg on this one, he was in an incredibly popular movie instead of those two.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that works for him.
Yeah. The original tagline for this movie wasn't, and we'll see if the audience gets this, but the dancing's over. Now it gets dirty.
Because the other movie with those words that he was in.
Yes.
Yes, I got it.
All right, number 3. An off-Broadway production of this story was made in 2003. Here's the title. I swear to God, this is the title of the off-Broadway production. Roadhouse. The stage version of the cinema classic that starred Patrick Swayze, except this one stars Tamac from the 80s cult classic The Last Dragon 1985, wearing a blonde mullet.
How long is the guy on the marquee making the sign for that was probably out there for 3 days getting up letters.
Yeah, making more sign to put it on. All right, number 2, and this is kind of more of a loophole, but this wasn't something that I noticed, so I put it in here. At 3409, you can actually see a prop man hand read the car part that Dalton needed from him. So they're supposed to be in the store together alone.
Yeah.
And Red's bending down to like get the antenna, I think it was, out of the box that houses the antenna. And you can actually see it like come up and out of the shelf. So if you want to see that, 3409.
That's funny.
Okay. And the number one most interesting fact, not that funny, but the main singer of the band, Jeff Healey, actually was blind in real life. I don't know if you knew that.
Okay. I didn't.
He was blind from 18 months old and started playing guitar at 3. So he is actually. Go ahead.
You could tell he was really playing the shit out of that guitar. I know he was doing like a lap steel, and like I know they're miming it for the movie or whatever, but like he was, those motions were true. Like he was yelling the shit.
Yeah. So he definitely knew what he was doing. So there you go. 5 interesting facts.
Cool.
Test number 6, the most cliche. This has been a lightning round lately because movies are tropey. We're finding bad movies are very tropey.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read off every moment of trope and cliche that we noticed in this movie, lightning style, lightning round style, so that we can pop over to the shit coin, everyone's favorite bit. I know everybody's chomping at the bit for the shit coin. So let's do test number 6, the most cliche.
All I've got to say is that moving forward, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we need to know the only constant is change in these unprecedented times. So let's put our best foot forward and our aces in our places, because we're like a family, and we're in it to win it.
All right, number 1, they start with the great business that Dalton's, in charge of, and then they go straight to the Double Deuce for contrast.
Yeah.
Number 2. The dude that says, I think I can take you to the bouncer who's legendary. And then they go outside and there's 2 guys that are ready to take him.
Yeah.
The I thought you'd be bigger line.
Yep.
Super cliche. Everyone knows Dalton. Here's my question for you. Have you ever heard of a Connecticut bouncer?
No. And I wanted to bring that up at some point. I've played in like every single bar in Connecticut, like not even exaggerating, like from Colchester down to like Stamford. Like I've played.
Right. So if anybody would,
I never. There's Billy Wheelbarrow over there, like just coming down the pike. Like I never. There's nobody. There's no one. You just there's like bars have new GMs like every 3 days because they fucking get fired or gamble all the money away on sports. So it's just they're gone.
Well, good, because I haven't either, and I figured you would have.
Yeah.
His dark past. The Wild West brawl I mentioned. No cops.
Yeah, that really fucking bothered me.
Yeah. The expedited car sale when he's just like looking at it, and then he's like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
His farmhouse fortress of solitude. It'll get worse before it gets better, excuse me.
Yeah.
He says. The rich guy is a total asshole.
Yeah.
Shirtless martial arts practice.
Slow motion too, yeah.
He's a philosopher, of course.
Yep.
Man search for faith, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Bad guy randomly picks a goon for an ass kicking.
Yep.
Everybody pays Brad Wesley.
Yep.
Dalton's such a good person. That he gives the guy at the diner tonight's rent for the homeless guy falling asleep.
Yeah.
Boo. The 80s spandex aerobics.
Yep.
No amount of money will he take to be bought off.
Yep.
Red is her uncle.
Yep.
Wesley's in love with the doc.
Yep.
He's got a mentor.
Yep.
Okay, I almost clipped this one, but the Exposition Express in the diner when Sam Elliott's character Wade is like, she never even told you that she was married.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I didn't have to go as far as, whatever. And then Sam Elliott's like, when somebody puts a gun to your hip, there's 2 choices. You die or you kill. Something like super like, just in case you didn't think Patrick Swayze was a good guy yet. The Bodyguard 1 versus 1 showdown.
Yep.
The Joker style ultimatum of Doc or Wade.
The
all out war 1 versus 10, very Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
Okay, I like this one. The gas pedal jammed trick.
I'm going to talk about that later, I think.
Okay,
but
cool.
yes, no, 100%.
He gets the girl.
Yep.
And lastly, stormtroopers.
Yeah, many stormtroopers.
Many. Okay, so I'm going to write down the score, and then we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
All right, man. Let's do the shitcoin.
All right.
So what we do here is we get bothered a lot on Instagram by people who are trying to basically sucker us into giving them our money so that they can quote unquote invest it in Bitcoin, but that's obviously not what they're trying to do. So I tend to fuck with them, and Rob reads their dialogue, which is usually funnier than mine. Actually, so as soon as you're ready, Rob, play that bumper and we'll get into it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so I am playing the role of Ian H.E. Vaults. I guess it's like a gold vault.
Yes.
It looks like I posted a story saying I'll be giving away $500 to 5 people who urgently needs it. DM your Cash App tag. And then I said, what's your Cash App tag?
So I say to start, because I was actually at work. Sorry, have to use the kitchen counter for all communication. I'll be at work and unable to attend this meeting today. I'll have to talk to you tomorrow or Monday morning.
I don't understand.
And then I said, hello?
Hi, how are you?
Just hanging in my kitchen. I've been hoping to hear from you for some time now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I saw your text, but I was on a call with my couch who's teaching me how to trade and make money from what I trade, his and crypto investor. So what are you up to right now?
Just staring at my built-in kitchen counter tablet. You? That's my only Wi-Fi enabled device at the present. But hey, it's got Angry Birds.
I'm about to purchase Bitcoin and trade and wait to receive my profit. The last time I traded 1,000, it gave me 5,000. I am purchasing Bitcoin now on my Cash App to trade again.
Am impressed by that.
Oh, his an helper who I believe God sent to my life this new year.
God has a strange way.
I can give you his Instagram. You can trade with him also to make profit. They have a company. Just tell him I refer you to him.
God?
Then I replied to the God has a strange way thing saying, yes, he really does.
I can't trade with God, silly.
Not God.
You mean the helper?
Yes.
Ah, his and helper. Got it. Misread that.
Houston, Texas? I'm sorry.
It's right. That's right. That's the next part.
Yeah. Houston, Texas.
Yeah. You?
You, question mark.
No, not me. You. Houston. You?
Yes, Houston, Texas.
That's me too.
How about you?
Where? I'm from is Houston. Where are you from too? Texas I am. I mean, I now go to Texas A&M. But from originally Houston, home of the Bears.
All right.
High school team, Bears. Whoop, go Bears. What was your high school team? Football, I mean.
What if I tell you I wasn't in any team, LOL?
Oh, did your high school have a team?
LOL, I will let you know this maybe tomorrow or next when I can ask my friend if and what's called.
Your high school?
The team name.
What's the high school? I would know. I played basically every high school in Houston.
You must be a good player.
I played power forward.
Nice. I have to attend to something right now.
LOL. I think I got you.
You got me. How?
I don't think you're from Houston.
Then go take a look at my page. Check my post.
LOL. You're one post.
Yeah. I posted my location at the top, so check my one post.
You don't know a single high school in Houston?
Why won't I?
Name one. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I don't understand.
2, 1. Do some research, dork. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I decided to get a little mean with that one.
Yeah.
Hey, but you got to change it up for the listener.
Yeah.
All right, let's do test number 6 or 7 rather, and it's our last test.
Okay,
and then we'll get it. We'll do some fun stuff. So this one's called worst graphics.
Okay.
These movies lately haven't had a whole lot to discuss in this category. Basically, Sorcerer's Apprentice was like just threw this whole thing out of whack because their graphics were so good. It was like, what the hell's going on here? So to compare, going from there was a little difficult, and now we're doing movies where there are no graphics.
Yeah,
but I will discuss some things here in test number 7, the worst graphics.
Welcome to test number 7, the worst graphics.
Okay. Number 1, as always, good explosions, but I wrote who cares at this point. Number 2, the leg Dalton breaks. I just wrote because I legitimately found that really funny. Yeah. It looks like, when like a dog has like a fake arm holding a cigar or something.
Yeah, like the insult comic dog on Conan.
Yeah, sure. Like the arm obviously does not match up with the body. Yeah. That's the leg that they threw at Dalton, like so obviously didn't match the angle of the body that it was laughable. I thought the guy's like the rich guy house was cool. I give them credit in Hard Target, so we're not here, right?
Yeah.
I thought the throat rip looked like shit when he did it. It
looked real bad.
Yeah, they only showed it for a minute, but the car explosion at the end, there was a knife throw in the end battle that looked like crap. It kind of looked like the knife was on a rope or something.
Yeah.
There was good and bad choreography, I thought, throughout. Couldn't really get a sense of whether I thought it was impressive or not.
They had just the right amount for you to be like, yeah, okay. Like, if there was like 10% more action, you'd start calling shit out, I think.
Yeah, agreed. And then lastly, I wrote, and I basically gave them a demerit for this. I said I couldn't read the credits, so fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, I legitimately couldn't. I had a really hard time getting our bad credit names.
Okay.
What's your sense on which one's worse, graphics-wise, Senseless or Roadhouse?
I guess Senseless, because, like, they had okay, like, glowing weird shit, but Roadhouse had real explosions. So... Yeah. All right, so we'll look good because it was real.
So we'll give the nod to Roadhouse, so Senseless has worse graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the benefit of many, many years as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I think what was Senseless? 2000?
No, it was 98.
Oh yeah, that's right, 98. Okay, so it had 9 years. It's a good long time. Yeah, so fuck. Plus, I hate that movie.
Yeah.
All right, you wanted to do the loopholes?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Cool. All right, so what we do here is we just talk about all the stupid shit that doesn't fall under the umbrella of any of our tests. There's plenty that needs to be said about these movies that are terrible, but aren't testable. Little factoids, kind of more gray matter. So we're going to get into that now. The what do I look like? Your valet guy outside of like the bar, whatever. He's from Weird Science. I don't know if you've ever seen that. He's got a really cool voice.
That was a weird movie, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like, "What do I look like, your valet?" Yeah, something like his crazy voice. Hey, Terry Funk is back, dude. We had him in Over the Top.
That's right.
Yeah, he's a bodyguard in Over the Top. I just want to stress one more time: there are no police ever.
Yep.
I'm thinking, don't steal right in front of Dalton if you're the bartender.
Yeah.
He takes the $20 bill out of the tender, right, and like turns in the direction of Dalton as he places it in his pocket. Dalton looking at him 4 feet away.
Yeah.
The fight towards the beginning where Dalton smacks the guy's head against the table.
Yep.
The singer, Jeff Healey, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
After everybody's like super impressed and staring at Patrick Swayze, like, wow,
Yeah.
And you hear the song, "Who's that guy?" In the background. The singer's like, "The name's Dalton," and everybody starts clapping like everybody was waiting to find out like Like it was his job to announce him or something. It was really awkward. And then, actually, I don't think I mentioned this, but then a little later, I think the singer also introduces Wade Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're outside, he's like, "That's Wade Garrett."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, kid. Okay, the pool party.
Yeah.
So it was awkward, and it got me thinking. You know how they all come out at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Did they all gather in the house and wait for that very last person to show up before they all literally started stripping and running out the back door?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Don't pool parties like kind of start and you just like kind of go by the pool whenever you want?
Yeah, and then like one cool guy just comes running in and cannonballs into the water fully clothed, and you're like, "Oh my god, that's so crazy! Your phone might be in your pocket."
Dude, that dude's nuts.
It's fucking psycho.
I wanted to mention that nobody ever does ragdoll like effects correctly.
Nope.
So there are knockouts in this movie aplenty, and they always fall like gently to the ground. Are Doc and Dalton dry humping because this is a thing in movies that I don't think we've talked about yet. But dress goes up, and then it's implied that they're doing the hunka chunka.
Yeah.
But he's got pants on still.
Yeah, and then there's also a scene in the beginning where he sees one of his workers having sex on his break or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when the guy like pulls out and like pulls his like underwear up, like he's presumably limp.
Yeah, so I guess maybe Dalton's just that frightening.
I guess.
How many times can you send a group of henchmen and have them all lose to this one guy before you decide to send every fucking person at once? So I love the part when they're outside where Dalton gets punched like easily 20 times in the stomach by Terry Funk, and he's completely undamaged.
Not even winded.
No. And then Wade comes out while he's getting punched and then like starts talking shit instead of helping his friend who's getting punched. He just like lets him get punched more. Here's a good one. Dr. Clay, that's the doc, left the diner alone. You remember? She like throws her coat over her arm, grabs a purse, and just like gives him a kiss, walks out the door. They drove her there.
They did. Yeah.
I hope it's not a long walk.
Getting one of those 1989 Ubers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that that goes to your point about the Waffle House, right?
Okay.
So the reason that I think it didn't really translate that it was the Double Deuce is because when Denise does the dance routine, the whole dance floor is completely empty and there's nobody in there.
Yeah.
It's just like a band and she's dancing. And then the dance floor is full of tables and people immediately after Denise's dance.
I thought they were in a different location. Like just in my head, it made me think they're on a different soundstage.
It was definitely a mistake.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't have had. Right. So, I wanted to mention that Jimmy does a pool cue catapult in the style of Robin and Batman and Robin.
Yep.
Onto the stage. How did the entire town know to show up at the car dealership?
This is what you were saying about Senseless. Like their world is so small. Like, because you find out that like Double Deuce is right next to the auto dealership. I mean, the car repair place, and then Patrick Swayze or fucking Dustin. I forgot his name. Dustin. What's his character's name? Dalton. Yeah. Dalton is staying in a barn like across the lake from like the main nemesis. Like everybody has eyes on. It's too small of a world.
It is far too small. I agree.
Yeah.
That is a commonality in bad movies we're finding.
Yeah.
No consequences for that. Right. So here's another little bit that we're going to do this week. It's totally unique. So we're probably not going to do this or anything like this again. Maybe we'll develop something else like this. We're going to give it a shot and see if you guys like this. So if you remember, I think it was Red goes up to the guy whose dealership was just destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "You have coverage, right?"
Yeah.
So I got my mind like kind of going, and I texted Rob, and I was like, "Hey, Rob, let's play a little game." And I said something like, "I'm the guy whose shop just got destroyed." So let's do a little role play. So we're going to read that conversation for you. We believe that this is about accurate, right?
Yeah.
To how it must have gone to try to file that claim. So I'm going to start as a guy whose dealership was just destroyed, and Rob is the broker. Say,
Cool.
Hey, I'd like to file a claim.
Sure. What's your policy number or EIN?
075183V.
Is there a suffix? Should be 3 letters.
Oh, my sincerest. -BM.
Verify home address, please.
1718 Mallard Net Circle, no city or state available.
Okay, that tracks. What's good?
So this guy who has the police in his pocket had one of his many, many henchmen drive his street-legal monster truck through my dealership. He destroyed my display of 7 new Fords fully equipped. I just wanted to make sure that I chose the evil millionaire destroys display room coverage in my policy last year.
Yes, you did, and at a discount because you did it during our Rocktoberfest. How many henchmen was it again total? That'll determine your deductible.
Oh, right. Well, there were 4, and the millionaire himself. I've decided to forgive Tinker, though. A polar bear fell on him.
And you didn't provoke this in any way yourself, did you? We're not talking wrong place, wrong time, but rather you didn't actively encourage any of this behavior, did you? Like you didn't tickle anybody you shouldn't have or anything like that?
Honestly, I have a walrus-style mustache.
Maybe in your den after getting White Castle on a Thursday?
Never on a Thursday, sir. I'm insulted.
Well, late night, so technically Friday. I'm sorry if I have insulted you. I just have to read all the prompts or we can't proceed.
I understand. No, I haven't.
Okay, that's good to know. So your policy is up to date, but unfortunately you checked off the evil billionaire box. So we have 2 options. You need to either retroactively pay the difference in premiums, or what I would suggest, which is have a montage with the millionaire after befriending him, elevating his finances, and then technically you could just use the policy you have now. All depends on how quickly you need this claim filed.
What's the difference in premiums, roughly, like the coarse hairs above my front chompers?
That was a mistake for misreading earlier. The difference is actually really only $3.
Okay. I'll see if I can get a television crew in to film he and I together after I take him fishing.
Taking the more practical approach, I see. Good choice.
Maybe I can get him indulging in some illegal activity on film in the process. Thanks for your help. That'll be all. No survey.
That.
So, yeah, I think that was pretty accurate. That's about how it would go down.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
All right. So, moving on. Send Jimmy your number 1 and all of the henchmen at Dalton at once. That's what I say. If murder doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
He commits murder, right?
Yep.
The old Hungarian throat rip.
The Hungarian throat rip.
So the ultimatum, right?
Uh-huh.
I'll kill your friend, you know, that guy that I hate, or the woman that I'm in love with. Your choice.
Yeah.
What do you think he's going to do?
Yeah.
If you're Wesley and the cops are in your pocket, report the murder of Jimmy.
Yeah.
Okay, movie over. Dalton becomes a spree killer.
Yep.
Brad's fucking throwing spears, this guy.
Yeah. They never once mentioned like wild game hunting until like the very end of the 3rd act. So we had no idea he possessed that skill set.
No, but he's hucking spears like a madman. All right, this is the last one I got. Why does Doc want to be with him in the end? He's not just a murderer now. He's a certifiable lunatic, and they're just like skinny dipping together.
It's the thing that pissed me off is like the 3rd act. Like I was looking at like I try not to watch the progress bar on the movie. I like just like kind of like letting it end without me knowing like when it's ending, like you're supposed to. But I clicked it and I was like, how the hell are they going to wrap this shit up in 10 minutes?
Yeah, exactly.
And then like I know like 3 or 4 of those minutes are credits. So like how are they going to wrap this up in 6 minutes?
Yeah, true.
It's unbelievable. And then like, it just didn't make sense.
No, it didn't, because you'd expect there to have to be some kind of resolution.
Yeah.
To the she doesn't like that you literally killed somebody issue.
Yeah.
Especially now that you killed 9 more.
And then like the first guy he killed, he kind of floated across the lake while yelling "fuck you."
Yeah, right. As she's like trying to get away as fast as possible,
Yeah.
lest she be murdered also.
Yeah.
But then they're just having some hot pond sex at the end.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we do your movie review?
Can I just throw one in? I have two really quick ones actually.
Oh, okay. Do your two, and I've got one more that I skipped, and I like.
Okay.
It so
you mentioned like the brick on the fucking gas on the car.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So most car, if you don't have straight axles, which that car has been beaten to shit like 20 times in this movie.
Yeah.
If first of all, if you want like your car to stay true towards the target, you can't just floor it because you're gonna start skidding left and right.
That's a good point.
And if your alignment's fucked up, and you're gonna go off in some completely different direction.
Yes.
So you need to go. You gotta gradually go like 0 to 60 or however fast, like over the amount of time. But if you're just jamming a brick on the gas, that's not gonna happen. So that car would not have stayed true.
It's even more improbable because it's not a brick. It's like a commando knife.
Yeah.
That he was somehow able to pierce a fucking gas pedal with.
Yeah.
So hard that he stuck it to the metal on the other side of the pedal.
Yeah. How the car not fly off when he was trying to do that?
I legitimately have no idea. I don't think Schwarzenegger in his Commandoist could have used a commando knife in that way.
Okay, so real quickly,
bass
player was playing through a Marshall stack. That's a guitar amp. He would have blown the shit out of it.
Oh, nice, good call.
And then the last thing is, so he asked for $5,000 up front and $500 a day. I did the math out, assuming a 5-day work week. That's $135,000.
Holy shit!
You want to fix your bar up? You don't blow that much on salary. You just hire some contractors, make it like a really nice looking place that kind of people don't want to hang out at, and then your problem's solved.
And call it the Triple Deuce.
Yeah.
All right, my last one, because I missed this one. Everybody entered the unspoken agreement to murder Brad together.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So now, do you want to do your movie review?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. Okay. I'm not sure who this movie is for. On one hand, there's the whole small business versus a super rich real estate mogul or something. On the other hand, there's the drifter with the heart of gold who wins the heart of a hospital worker or something. There was action, but most fighting was centered around slow motion montages of Patrick Swayze doing aerobics. I don't know if you ever read one of those beach bum romance books with Fabio on the cover, but this movie really gave off that vibe. I think that's who this movie was for. There were fleeting shots of titties, but they were just like part of the scenery rather than the main point of focus. The main point of focus was Swayze's tight ass and the wind gently blowing through his chestnut hair. His smile, his charm, his bad boy persona hidden beneath the nice boy facade. A solid 1.3 stars.
Nice. All right, dude. Let's do bad credit names.
Okay.
This was another disappointing batch. Actually, I was really looking forward to the bad credits on this one because I thought there must be a ton of good ones.
Yeah.
But there really wasn't. That coupled with the fact that I couldn't read them.
Yeah.
The return of Oscar Mitt.
Okay.
This guy's all over the place. There was a guy named Tiny Ron.
Okay.
And then a guy named Dave Too Tall Wachman. Red West.
Yeah.
Plays Red Webster.
Okay.
That's good thing they altered his last name there a little bit.
Yeah.
We have another return.
Okay.
The return of Tommy Tom Tomlinson.
that's the best name in our entire run. Like, this is our 32nd episode, and that's the best name by far.
Sunshine Parker.
Okay.
Chino Fats Williams.
Okay.
Marvin Corky Barker.
Okay.
And then last one, and it's not even a name. There was a song on the soundtrack called Hoochie Coochie Man.
Okay. Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. You'd think it was Hard Target.
Yeah.
Okay, let's compare the movie, and then we'll talk about our closing stuff, and then we'll go home.
Sounds good.
Senseless. The worst of its kind was a negative 65.4.
Okay.
And it was the worst of its kind.
All right.
Roadhouse was not at a negative 24.2. So Senseless takes the first. You did not agree to make the plot of Senseless into a movie, and you gave it a 1 star.
Yeah.
You gave Roadhouse a 3 star, and you said you would make it.
Yeah.
So Senseless wins that one, and dialogue as well. We agreed that the dialogue of Senseless is worse than Roadhouse.
Okay.
Roadhouse takes a swing back with a yes, its acting is worse.
Yeah.
However, Senseless is more offensive than Roadhouse, so it's currently 4-1.
Okay.
Roadhouse is more cliche by twice as much.
Wow.
2014.
Okay.
Yeah, so 4-2. Not that it matters, but the graphics were worse for Senseless in our estimate. So it's actually 5-2 in favor of Senseless, which I agree Senseless is a much worse movie than this one. So the worst current movie of season 4 is Senseless. And next week.
Yeah, it was neck and neck when I checked.
Okay, next week, by 2 votes, we are doing Hard to Kill.
Okay.
But this is extra good, and I foreshadowed earlier, because our friend Bob Hassick of think_in_movie_scenes on Instagram is coming back. He's going to be our guest for next week, and I'm glad, because I don't know about you, but I've never seen Hard to Kill.
I haven't seen most or any, actually, Steven Seagal movies.
I really haven't seen. Maybe this is an untapped source for us. Maybe we'll strike oil here, because I really haven't seen much of his either.
It's one of those things. It was like on TNT in the background while I was playing like Need for Speed on my computer. Like I know I'm familiar with like the rhythms of it, but I never sat down like, oh, I gotta check this shit out.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine I know exactly what's going to happen in this movie.
Yeah,
already. But I can't say that I surely do, because I haven't seen it. And my cousin Todd, who I'm sure I've shouted him out before, but he's a fan of the show, and he messaged me about Steven Seagal. So I'm gonna go into his history. I'll probably do some 5 interesting facts on Steven Seagal or something like that. But apparently, Todd had told me, because Todd did a lot of martial arts growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And as an adult, I'm sure, but he told me that Steven Seagal is kind of a joke, at least comparatively, because he said that he is the world's only like real martial arts action hero.
Yeah,
apparently, and so Jean-Claude Van Damme apparently challenged him twice, on 2 separate occasions, to fight, because he is a European like martial arts tournament champion.
Yeah,
is Van Damme, and Seagal ducked out of that twice.
Yeah, and I also heard that Seagal once was giving lip to like someone on the set of one of his movies about like how to do a chokehold, and then they did it on him and he shit himself.
No way.
I gotta find it. I'll find the account of what happened, and I'll bring it in next week.
Right. I'd mentioned to my cousin, though, that I had heard that, at least in his early career, that Seagal was actually like well practiced, like knew what he was doing. I forget what it was, akimbo maybe he said.
Okay.
But he actually like ran a dojo like in Japan or something where he like was the only American to ever have done it before. Like he really was credentialed in the beginning, but then he just like got lazy and like put on weight, and then. Like you can look up Steven Seagal like martial arts performances now, and it's the kind of stuff where he just like waves his hand and people fall over. You know what I mean? They come charging at him and he just goes, eh, you know, and just like fall sideways. So it's all bullshit now. But anyway, we're doing Hard to Kill, and Bob Hassick will be joining us again, which I'm excited about because it's always a great episode. So why don't we? I'll plug the social, you plug the audio.
Yeah.
So check us out. I'm trying to be more active on Twitter, on Reddit. I really am not doing much on TikTok because the only people that ever add me are bots anyway. So if I think that's a sign that our audience is a little older than the teeny boppers on TikTok. But if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Follow us, ask for content there, and we'll make it. For the most part, we're putting content up on Instagram. We like to post 3, 4, 5 times a week. Check out our stories, check out our posts, follow, please. And thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends.
People on TikTok are putting McDonald's ice cream cones in their soda, and they're thinking they invented it.
Yeah, that's creative. Really creative.
Okay. So you can find us at worstmovieevermade@gmail.com. And our podcast can be heard on Spotify, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Pocket Casts, and Google Play. If you have your own podcast app like Overcast or Podcast Addict or something like that, you can find the RSS feed on anchorfm.com, and you can just put that in your podcast app and listen to it there. And next, it's called what? Hard to Kill, right? We're watching next week?
Hard to Kill.
All right. Well, guys, I'm going to get the theme music rolling, and we're going to get out of here, okay? Let me just go ahead and pull this up. Oh, shit. Sorry, my bad. Here we go. See ya. Yeah.